Hey, what's up guys? Combat Critique here. In this video, I want to give my pick for this upcoming bare knuckle boxing fight between Mike Perry and Luke Rockhold. Let's get started. So if we look at the physical stats of these two fighters, starting with Mike Perry, his height is 5 feet 10 inches and it is 6 feet 3 inches for Luke. So he will have a huge 5-inch height advantage over Mike Perry. Mike Perry in the UFC fought in the welterweight, which is 170 pounds, and Luke Rockhold fought at middleweight, which is 185 pounds. So he is the naturally bigger guy, and even if they both make the same weight, I expect Luke to be a lot bigger on the night of the fight. Reach is 71 inches for Mike Perry and it is 77 inches for Luke. So he will have a huge 6-inch reach advantage as well. Stance is orthodox for Mike and it is southpaw for Luke. If we talk about the age, so Mike Perry is the younger fighter and Luke is almost nearing his 40s. Both these guys are pretty much done from MMA. Luke has retired from MMA and Mike Perry also, he has moved on from the UFC and now he's both these guys are trying their hands at these alternative boxing routes. Mike Perry also fought in triad combat and Luke is trying bare knuckle for the first time. Now let's look at some of the other career statistics from their UFC fights. Keep in mind that the wrestling and grappling numbers, these are not really relevant because this is a bare knuckle boxing fight and wrestling, grappling, those things are not allowed. So if we look at just the striking numbers from their UFC careers, maybe we can, get an idea of how this fight will play out. So the strikes landed per minute, this is 4.32 for Mike Perry and it is 4.1 for Luke Rockhold. So both guys are pretty even, but slight advantage goes to Mike. He is the busier striker on the feet. Keep in mind that this strike landed per minute signifies the number of significant strikes that you land on your opponent per minute on average. Striking accuracy is 47% for Mike Perry and it is 49%. So pretty even for both these guys, but a very slight advantage goes to Luke. He is more accurate with his strikes. And these strikes, because they are UFC stats, so they include elbows, knees, kicks, as well as punches. Here in the bare knuckle boxing fight, you are only allowed to throw punches. So these might not be really accurate in a boxing scenario. Strikes absorbed per minute. This is the next indicator that we have, and that is 5.16 for Mike Perry. He gets it pretty often, and it is 2.68 for Luke. So in this case, we know that Luke is a grappler, and whenever things got a little tough, he would initiate a takedown or maybe get knocked out. Because of that, I think his strikes absorbed per minute is better than Mike Perry. So in this case, the lower number is better because you are absorbing lesser number of strikes. So Luke has an advantage. However, in a boxing fight, we don't really know who has the advantage. I think both of them can get hit. Mike Perry obviously gets hit a lot, and Luke, this is his first time in BKFC in boxing. So maybe he also gets hit a lot more in boxing because he doesn't have the luxury of shooting for a takedown now. Striking defense is 52% for Mike Perry and 53% for Luke. So again, both these guys, just like the striking accuracy, they are pretty even, but a very slight advantage goes to Luke. Keep in mind that these stats are taken from the UFC website and these are their stats in the UFC fights. This is not going to be a UFC fight. This will be a bare knuckle boxing fight. So these stats can differ significantly. If we talk about their record in MMA, so Mike Perry has 22 total fights and he has won 14 and lost 8. We really care about the knockouts and the decisions, and submissions are not really relevant because for boxing these you can't submit your opponent. So for in the 14 wins that he has won 11 via knockouts. So this man has power and he is really a knockout machine. He only goes for knockouts. he has no wins via submission and 3 via decision. So a lot of his wins have come via knockout. And if you talk about the 8 losses, only one has come via knockout, and the rest 6, one has come also via submission, and the rest 6 have come via decision. So it's really hard to knock out Mike Perry. He has a good chin, and this is evident from his MMA record. Now let's talk about Luke. He has 22 fights, same as Mike Perry, 16 wins and 6 losses. Out of these 16 wins, he has 6 wins by knockout, so significantly less number of wins by knockout as a percentage of the total overall wins for Luke Rockhold as compared to Mike Perry. He has 2 wins by decision, and out of the 6 losses, he has 5 via knockout, so he gets knocked out, and this is a big concern for Luke. His chin is not as solid as Mike Perry, and he has also lost once via decision. So if you look at the submissions, this is where Luke really shines. He has 8 wins via submission, and he has been never finished via sub in his MMA career. However, these things are not really relevant for this fight. So few things are obvious, that Mike Perry is the power puncher. It's really hard to knock him out, whereas for Luke, he has quite some amount of power, but his chin is really questionable. Out of the 6 losses, he has 5 via knockout alone. And also keep in mind that Mike Perry has fought in BKFC. This is his BKFC record. He is 2-0, and both wins have come via decision. If we talk about the guys that he beat Michael Venom Page, and this fight was a surprise for many. I think this is a robbery. This fight was a robbery, but still Mike Perry did better than what everyone was expecting. Everyone was expecting that MVP will finish Mike Perry because he is a great striker. Also, MVP is pretty similar to Luke Rockhold in terms of height and reach. So if MVP couldn't knock out Mike Perry, and Mike Perry eventually won the fight via majority decision, then I think he will have a pretty easy time against a grappler like Luke Rockhold, who has a questionable chin. And if you talk about the fight before that, he beat Julian Lane via unanimous decision. This was back in February of last year. So this man is more active recently, and he's been competing in BKFC for about a year, a little over than a year. Luke Rockhold is trying BKFC for the first time, and his chin is questionable. I think after taking all these things into account, I will have to go with Mike Perry. I think he gets it done. Can he knock out Luke Rockhold? I don't think so, because of the height and reach disadvantage. However, considering Mike Perry has knockout power, I wouldn't rule out the possibility. Also, the chin of Luke is not very good, especially now that he's 40 years old, almost nearing 40. But I think he will get it done. He gets it done via unanimous decision. Mike Perry has never finished anybody in BKFC. I think it will stay that way. However, he will win a clear unanimous decision over Luke Rockhold. That's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next video.